Welcome to Movement is Mandatory. Today's video, we're going to cover how to get rid of that elbow and wrist pain that you may have. All we're going to need is your body weight for this video, so let's get moving. All right, guys, in today's video, it's very simple. We're going to do just a couple of stretches and then just a couple of activation drills. When it comes to elbow and wrist pain, whether it's here, inside, outside, if it goes into the wrist, into that thumb area, the main thing we have to do is we have to try to down-regulate or turn off these overactive muscles and get the stress back to where the stress is supposed to be, which is your shoulder blades. So number one thing I see in my clinic with the athletes and clients that I'm working with is that if there's anything going on here, it's because it's getting overused and the stress is not staying where it's supposed to in the shoulder complex. So what we're going to do is get these two stretches done, and then we're going to try to activate and get that stress back to where it's supposed to be. So what we're going to do first, and we're going to do this on both sides just because in general it's good to do, whether you have it on both or just on one. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do this wrist extension stretch. So all we're going to do is we're just going to rock back and forth from one wrist to the other wrist. So I'm going to have my hands right in line with my legs, just in this plank position. We're going to do this for a minute. So I'm going to rock back and forth, just trying to get through a little bit more range of motion each time I do this. And what I'm trying to achieve is a really good stretch right through the inside of that forearm. And it doesn't matter if you have symptoms on the inside or not, but this is going to be really helpful. Or if you're just doing this to try to increase your wrist mobility, this is going to help to downregulate that wrist flexor tension. So I'm just kind of rocking back. This should not be painful. It should just feel like a nice, good stretch. Just trying to work through that tissue. We've got about 5 more seconds of this. Let's get one more rep on each side. Then we're going to do the opposite. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a more extended position. So my hand's going to be on the back, like here. I'm going to rock back into it and just go side to side. So I'm really trying to keep the back side of my hands down. I'm trying to get my elbow straight. And you should really feel a stretch right through more of that wrist area. But it's going to come all the way up to the elbow. Even though you may not feel the elbow, it still is working towards there. And we're going to do this for about another 45 seconds or so. Just trying to work that tissue. Getting through a little bit more range of motion each time that you do this. Have about 15 more seconds. And just do what you can tolerate. Don't force it. We're just trying to get to that end, that threshold of where the system says, all right, we're getting a little bit of stretch, but we're not going into where it's painful. Just be slightly uncomfortable is all we're looking for on each side of this. Let's do one more on each. And perfect. All right, so now, very simply, all we're going to do is activate our shoulder blades. So we're just going to be in that plank position, but what we're going to do is we're going to stay in a neutral position with our wrist. So we're going to just go into a fist, so that way we can keep our wrist nice and stacked. And what we're going to do is really focus on putting our shoulder blades down towards our butt. So in this position, I don't feel any stress through my forearm at all. It's all back through here. And then all I'm going to do is just go out to the side. So I'm holding my body up with my left shoulder blade as I raise my right shoulder blade. My right arm. So as I raise my arm, I should still feel that shoulder blade. So both sides should be working at the same time. And we're doing 10 to each side. So we're going to do 2 rounds of this because we're going to do 10 T's like this, where my arm stays straight. It's just coming out to a 90-degree angle. And we're going to do 10 Y's. We're going to do 1 more on each. And then we're going to go immediately into those Y's. And those Y's are just more at a 45-degree angle. And we're going to do 10 of those on each side. We're keeping that stress in the shoulder blades. If you feel like you're starting to get some of the forearm, just take a break. And you want to keep your body over your shoulders. You want to just sit back this way. You want to get as much of that stress through those shoulder blades as we can. Because that's where the stress is supposed to be. That's what's going to really help keep the tightness from getting to the elbow or the wrist area. 1 more on each. All right, we'll take a break for a second. Give about a 15-second break. And then we're going to do 1 more set of 10 of these with T's and with Y's. So let's go ahead. So I'm in that fist, wrist neutral position. 1, 2, keeping tension in shoulder blades. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we immediately go into those Y's, or take a break or pause it if you need to. 1, 2, keep those elbows straight. 3, keep your body over your shoulders. 4, 5, keep that stress in those shoulder blades. Don't let that stress go to the wrist or the elbow. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now, should feel like there's less resistance. It might feel a little sore just because we're getting through a little bit more of that range towards more of the distal part or the further part into the wrist, but should be feel more relaxed through the elbow. So if you bend your elbow and you bend the wrist a little bit. But more importantly, what you should feel is that tension in your shoulder blades. You should feel like a good burn through those shoulder blades. And the more you go through this protocol, especially with these drills, these strength drills, added with some of the stretches, it's going to really help get everything back to where it's supposed to be and balanced. So that's how you help to get rid of some of that wrist and elbow pain and stiffness. I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Please like, share, subscribe to our channel. And as always, I'm Dr. Brian, and thank you for making movement mandatory.